Hey everybody, I just wanted to talk you through writing poems this week. And some of you maybe will be excited to write poems, and others will probably think, why am I being forced to write poetry? Um, I think poetry can be really fun. The nice thing about poetry is there's really no right or wrong way. The only thing I'm asking this week is that your poems are at least 12 lines long, and you just try to use things like similes and metaphors and personification imagery, the kind of stuff you normally see in a poem. Poems do not have to rhyme. Um, the length of the line in your poems can vary greatly. It can be little short lines, really long lines. Um, Again, outside of just having 12 lines, there's no right or wrong way to do this. Um, I would just encourage you not to overthink it. So, one thing that can help you not overthink it is I've given you all of these poetry prompts. I want to talk through a couple of them. The first two are just like they're bigger prompts. Um, this one shared to me by a good friend who is a poet. He uses this prompt a lot. He actually teaches classes at DePaul University. He uses this prompt a lot. He loves using it himself for his own poems. I really enjoy it too. The nice thing about this one is, yes, you can do all 20 of these things, and you can do them in this order if you want to, or you can just kind of go with the ones that you understand are the ones that make you think of something, and just start writing. So even if you just start with the first one and start writing, that works fine. But if you get stuck, come back to this and pick another one and add that to your poem. Let me share you the first draft of a poem that I wrote using this a while ago, like 6 years ago. The last time I used this, I was leading a summer workshop for writers um, at Columbia College, and I used this for students at that. But here's the poem. One of the last times I used this prompt. Not probably the last time, but actually, this is the first time I used this prompt. Here's the poem I wrote. It's not great, by the way, but I'm going to read it anyway. The silver beam leaps from the flashlight, an arrow darting down a dark alley. Its light passed through all things and refracted slowly, following the shape of the earth before returning to the back of my head. The cold summer breeze traced letters in the small of her back. Her skirt rustled with the sound of autumn leaves. The smell of coming rain stood acrid in our mouths. I tried hard not to imagine the taste of her lips, how our bodies would look pressed against one another, and instead dreamed of the music I might hear if she pressed her bright blue fingernails back against the back of my neck. Samantha Frost was an actual live meteorologist from Topeka, and if she was to be believed, it would not rain tonight. My father would listen to weather reports religiously while I slept in the early morning. He would drink Folgers from an aluminum cup, muttering occasionally, "Sons of bitches don't know what'll happen in an hour, let alone next week." But at that age, my father's words gave life to all things, each one another shining coin of truth. But that night, the full moon was an empty black disk, overcome by the brilliance of ordinary objects and moments. So she picked up the shadows and draped them across the bones of her shoulders and the nape of her neck and the sharp angles of her elbows. And the writer could only stand silent and embarrassed, knowing that tomorrow it will rain because it always rains tomorrow. Washing away even the brightest shadows, she said, when it rains, the world will come to an end. Time will stop, and there will be only you and me. Soy milk, he said in his rustiest Spanish, and the daffodils laughed, but like the lilies, she did not. And instead, she thought only of an old man, the smell of cheap coffee, and a sliver of pink arcing across the horizon. The fun thing about this prompt is it leads to often kind of fun little nonsensical poems that have like cool moments in them. So I encourage you to check that one out. It'll definitely lead you to a longer poem if you really stick with it. Another really fun one is just a found poem. So for this one, you could write a poem about the issue that you're writing your bigger essay about, or about anything. But I think the thing here is you look for, it could be a page from a book, it could be an article, anything. You look for it, and then you just kind of cut out the best words from it. It's kind of like doing magnetic poetry, and then you just put it down here. So I've given you another example of how this would work. I pasted the story I found and the poem I wrote with it. I underlined the words that I took there, so you kind of see what I've got. Um, and then there's just a bunch more poetry prompts. So there's a list here. Many of them have examples of what a poem written like this would look like. And if you don't like any of these, there's another list of 30 more prompts down here to choose from. Um, my suggestion to you would be come here, check out one of the prompts, see what sticks with you, see what sparks some of your imagination. And in the end, as you write these poems, don't overthink it and don't judge yourself too harshly. I think the biggest enemy to writing poetry is just sitting there going like, oh, this sucks, this is dumb, this is so you gotta like turn off that voice in your head while you're writing poems. Just let the words come out, let them fly onto the page, and then share with us what you get, because we're going to appreciate it no matter what. And then you're a poet. That's all it takes. If you have any other questions about writing poems this week, just send me an email, leave some messages in the comments, wherever the comments are, and good luck to you writing poems this week. I hope it provides a welcome distraction in your life as you sit down and try to write a couple poems too. All right. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being awesome. Talk to you guys soon.